James Kaufman, World News Report today, May 17th, 2025. God bless you and yours, no matter where you are in the world. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell for critical future updates. What is a woman? Well, Piers Morgan opened up a can of worms when he asked a panel of mostly liberal leftist women what a woman actually consists of. Let's listen to what they have to say, and hopefully we can keep up. What is a woman?
Okay, I have a question for you, Clementine. It's a very simple question, but I think it will be an interesting question to ask you. What is a woman?
Piers, I'm not going down the path of debating trans women with you.
I didn't mention trans women. Ask you what a woman is.
Okay, I'll tell you, but I know that because this is your tactic. This is what you do. What is a woman?
It's a bit controversial.
I'll tell you what a woman is. A woman is someone who has at least at one point in her life felt scared of a man.
Sorry?
You guys don't want to talk about that.
Hang on.
You guys don't want to talk about that.
So any man who's ever felt afraid of another man is a woman?
No. That's not what I'm saying.
This is exactly why when you're wearing that shirt that says repeal, you should put the 19th under it. It's unbelievable. What are you talking about? A woman, anybody who has ever at one point been afraid of a woman, it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Do you have an actual argument here?
Would you let me finish speaking? Or
how long is it going to take for you to finish? How long is it going to take for you to finish?
Yes, do you really just invite people on your show to be interrupted like this?
Well, Clementine, look, with all due respect, we did do a bit of research into what you said about me in the past, so I think I'm entitled to give you...
No, you already know what I think about that question, because I've written about you asking that question.
Yes, you have. In fact, you said, like, all of the...
Why would you ask it again when you know what my answer is?
To enlighten the audience who have no idea what you're talking about, or me, like all of the biggest, that's me apparently, currently jumping on the transphobic shuttle to Ding Dong Station. Morgan wants you to believe this is about fairness and equality, specifically fairness and equality in women's sports. That was exactly what it was about. And the problem is, Clementine, with all due respect to you, the reality is...
I doubt it's going with you.
I treat you with perfect respect, but your inability to just simply state what a woman actually is, particularly given 2 weeks ago in the UK, the Supreme Court made it very clear that a woman is a biological female. That's it. It's a scientific fact. The fact that you can't answer that is part of the problem.
I'd like to know, the thing is that I would like to know why you, in particular, are so obsessed with this definition of what a woman is. Firstly, how does it impact you in any way? Secondly,
I have a 13-year-old daughter. I have a 13-year-old daughter. And if my 13-year-old daughter decides she wants to come back, you ask me a question, I'm going to answer you. Well, if you don't want an answer, don't ask me a question. Here's my answer to your question. I have a 13-year-old daughter. I have 7 nieces, right? And some of them are very... So if I may answer your question, some of them are very good at sport. Right? The idea that they would one day have their dream of potentially an Olympic place or a Team GB place, whatever it may be, a World Championship place, taken from them by a biological male, I think is completely outrageous. And by the way, so is most of the world now, which is why there's been a reversing, screeching U-turn on this particular subject. But I come back to my question to you. Your inability to say what a woman is, and yet here you are lecturing women on how they should behave as women, is completely perverse.
I think that reducing women, specifically to your biological deciding what you think a woman is.
It's called science. It's their chromosomes. You have different chromosomes to me. It's not me saying that. I'm not writing the science.
I'm sure I'm not the first person to tell you about intersex people. So how do you...
I'm not talking about intersex people.
No, this is all the intersex is not a third sex. It's not a third sex. That's ridiculous. There is no third sex. There's 2 sexes, male, female, categorized scientifically. Intersex is not a third sex. Anybody can look that up in 5 seconds. Oh, lie. How did you not know that, by the way? How did you not know intersex is not a third sex?
I didn't say that intersex was a third
You did.
But intersex people exist. And intersex people of
So
intersex people
what?
can have a mixture of chromosomes. So if you
Are you saying they're a third sex or aren't you?
If you
Are you
present
saying
to the world as
if they're not a third sex, then you have no argument here. Do you understand that? What he's saying is
why are
this is
you
what is
so
objective.
obsessed
This
with
is
trans
what.
women?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
I don't need. Why are you so obsessed with defining trans women? For a start.
Yeah.
Nobody's interrupted me. Let me speak.
You just asked a question.
Let me speak for a
Asking
moment.
questions, Clementine, and then refusing to allow people to answer. If you don't
so
want to
answer the
answer,
question.
don't ask a question. The truth about the problem is feminists in particular, I've noticed, feminists have latched on over the last few years to this idea that if anybody raised any concerns about the way the trans lobby was trying to make things unequal, unfair, and unsafe for actual women, then they were immediately transphobic. I kept saying, I want trans people to have the exact same rights to fairness, equality, and safety as me or you. However, what was happening was women's rights were being eroded, so that things were not fair, they weren't equal, and they weren't safe. And we saw absolute parodies of this in the Olympics, in the boxing ring, where people who have been banned from the World Championships because they apparently reported positive for male chromosomes were getting in the ring and beating women up in the ring. And so a woman's going to die if this was allowed to carry on. So now people have stopped it. Now sporting bodies around the world have stopped it. But you, Clementine, I say this respectfully, are still flying the flag for this bullshit. And you can't even say what a woman is. And I just find the fact that you want to lecture women, like Rachel, on how they should be as a woman is completely perverse, given you don't even know or don't want to say what an actual woman is.
Rachel. I haven't said anything to Rachel. I've never met Rachel before in my life until today.
Well, you responded to what she said about the role of a woman.
Lecturing her. I wasn't lecturing her.
Well, it sounded like you were lecturing to me. Let me bring in Emily.
I was actually telling her the historical reality of economics in the US.
Let me bring in Emily.
But you wanted to divert it to talk about trans women because that's clearly...
No, you banged on about trans women. I just said to you, if you don't know what a woman is, we're going to talk about it.
You asked the question, Piers.
No, I just...
She's wrong about the economic history. She's the one looking at it through an economic prism that's extremely narrow. She's using feminist standpoint theory to try to tell us what the history of economics is.
Yeah.
She can't explain to us why, through all of human history and all of the why through all of Western history, we were able to raise a family, like a janitor could raise a family with 4 children on his income up until 1970. And what happened in 1970? We pushed women into the workforce in huge numbers, and we practically doubled the workforce overnight by pushing mothers and women into the workforce. This happened right alongside the creation of gender studies as an academic discipline, and now we are in a situation where we don't have a family economy. We have an individual income economy, which means most people can't raise a family without both parents.
I do agree with that last point tremendously. The doubling of our workforce around the globe only helped the employer, not the employee. We lost our families over it. However, we never got an answer to as what is a woman? It was a simple question. What is a woman? Well, I'm sure you can look it up. But I'll also save you the trouble. Now I'm using the National Institute of Health.gov, so we know we're using a government source here. Primary sex determination is a determination of the gonads. In mammals, primary sex determination is strictly chromosomal and is not usually influenced by the environment. In most cases, the female is XX and the male is XY. Every individual must have at least one X chromosome. Since the female is XX, each of her eggs has a single X chromosome. Now that's enough to get you started, but it is a biological difference. It's not a difference that someone creates in their mind. And you can't determine sex on how you feel. I can feel like a woman, but I'm still a man. God bless. Please share, subscribe, and always remember, anything's possible in Bizarro World.